Hello, my name is Bailey McCollum, and this is my video for my Exploring Change assignment. So, the first prompt for the assignment was to reflect upon our initial Gen Ed reflection seminar, or our launch book seminar, where we had to write out our goal and the issue that we wanted to address. And just to quote what I wrote in my initial academic statement, I said, "It has dawned on me within my first year of college that there is a serious problem with the way that the enlisted Marines of the Marine Corps are treated by their junior officers and their non-commissioned officers. Following your discussion with me about the problems that you face, I have decided that this is a problem I feel highly inclined to, at the very least, try to change." And just judging off of those two sentences alone, when I'm asked if my goals have changed a lot, my answer is honestly, I've not really changed. I've just more so broadened my goals. From that initial statement, you can tell that I used to really only focus on the problems, but now I would argue that I am also focused on how I can best become a leader and the art of leadership and what makes a good leader, what makes a bad leader, and how do you decipher those two. And then relative to what I gained or lost interest in, I would also say that my interest stayed relatively the same. But again, I would argue that I did change my attitude and outlook towards how I can be a better leader and the study of leadership, and not just the bad stuff. So to put it simply, not only how to fix the bad, but how do we increase the good. And honestly, upon reading that academic statement, I will say, at the very start of the semester when I went through to read it, I was very surprised because this statement, it still reigns so true. And I did not remember what I had written because it was 3 years ago. And it's just so shocking to me how on track I have stayed and how on track I've kept my goals. And then when we talk about my identity, I would definitely say that when I had initially written that first academic statement, I was very unsure of my own identity. I wasn't really sure if I should be the type of person leading people. I wasn't sure if I was the right kind of person for it. But now, following officer candidate school, my graduation from there, and my earning the title of a United States Marine, I'm firm in the fact that I'm meant to be a Marine and that leading is something that I am built to do, and I'm actually pretty good at it. So for skills and strategies that are helping me impact my problem of interest, I would say that following a multitude of courses that were mostly just focused on leadership, I am very well versed in that area. I took a lot of courses for naval science, and they were very focused on the art of leadership, Marine Corps doctrine, the art of war, and I could probably read that Marine Corps doctrine right back to you right now. I've read it probably 4 times. So I would say I'm very well versed in that area. And then just to bring it back to the whole Gen Ed concept, I would say that thanks to some Gen Ed courses that I took, I definitely feel as though I am more familiar with other cultures and other belief systems. And not just that, but how to treat individuals from different cultures, different belief systems than I come from and than I'm used to. The military, I would say, has a very strong sense of if you don't meet the standard or if you're doing something wrong, then it's a you problem and you're just wrong. But I feel like now that I've learned about people from different backgrounds, different cultures, again, different belief systems, I've learned that not everyone needs to be treated the exact same. And sometimes you need to be more focused on equity rather than equality, more focused on justice and getting people to the same level rather than equality. So then, experiences that I intentionally planned in my launch seminar, funny enough, I naturally intentionally planned those leadership courses. And again, They helped me get very well versed on things like Marine Corps doctrine, the study of leadership, the art of war, etc. But I also did plan to take Spanish courses, so much so that I would get a minor in Spanish. And I actually did not end up doing that. That is something that changed. And I would just say that that mostly changed largely because I wasn't the biggest fan of our foreign language department and how it was ran. And that's more so a me problem. I absolutely can see myself picking up Spanish again in the future because it is such a widely spoken language in the military, and I mean not just the military, but in the United States as a whole. And the United States is a big, large melting pot, and the more people I can communicate with, the more I can learn. So I would absolutely love to pick it up again, but maybe when I have a little bit more free time on my hands. And then we talk about unexpected experiences that helped me get to this place. And honestly, I would say that for those unexpected experiences, my summer trainings that I had to do for Naval ROTC, such as Fleet Marine Force Month and Officer Candidate School, I would definitely say that those were the most unexpected but most beneficial parts of my entire college experience. And that's just because those experiences gave me true, hands-on, very stressful leadership opportunities, but I got to fail and succeed and try again in a controlled environment where it's okay to fail and it's okay to have to try again. And there's no risk of, somebody losing their life because I messed up. And practice like that is what's going to help me get to where I want to be. And so, all that to say, I'm very, very grateful for those experiences. Now, when we talk about a specific instance or skill that I've adjusted to achieve my own personal and professional goals, this one's going to sound a little out there, but it was entirely the skill of managing my own attitude. When I was a freshman, had the hardest time getting out of my own head and not being in a bad mood. I felt like I was always walking around in a bad mood. And I can absolutely say that I have worked so hard on making it so that I can, with a flip of a switch, get myself out of a bad headspace and get myself into a good one. And my best example is I think of a test that I have coming up and I get really stressed out because, oh gosh, it's a test and I don't want to take it. But then if you just flip the switch, you can think about it as more of, I should be grateful that I get opportunities like this because lots of students apply to Ohio State and don't get in. And honestly, as a whole, you can't lead people if you cannot lead yourself, and a bad mood is going to rub off on others. And just to finish up, when it comes to what I'm taking away from this and taking with me, as I initially mentioned, I do want to be more focused on the good things than the bad. Yes, poor leadership does occur. We need to address it. But I cannot address it if I'm not actively pursuing the best leadership from myself. And again, I want to make it less about focusing on all the bad and how to fix that, and more about how do we improve the good. And I guess that sounds kind of similar, but I also really do want to take away my skill of maintaining my good attitude. That is something that I, again, have worked so hard on, and it means the world to me because it makes me 12 times more productive to be in a good headspace rather than a bad one. And anyways, that is kind of how I've not changed over the years. But yeah, thank you for listening and have a good day.